What's up, everybody? Austin Cheviron here with the Winning Twice podcast. I'm here with my guest, my buddy, PJ. What's going on, PJ?
What's up, Austin? Thanks for having me, brother.
Awesome, dude. We're going to have some fun today, I promise you, but we're also going to impact some lives.
Let's do it.
Okay. Now, you are the first client that I've ever asked to come on here.
I'm honored, bro. Thanks for having me.
So we're going to bring a different mix to them because our relationship's a little different than the other people we've had on. And so I think what we can do, we can have some fun. We can peel back the onion and really like help these people out that are listening to understand how to stuff work. But what I want to ask you to start with is the podcast name's Winning Twice. What does winning twice mean to you?
The first thing that I think of, because I'm in the presence of Austin Cheviron, is it's not always the first decision, it's the second decision. You're talking about your story of climbing the mountain. So it's not the first decision that kills somebody. Sometimes it's the second decision when they grab the wrong rock or step off the wrong cliff. So that framework that I've gotten exposed to with working with you takes me to winning twice. Sometimes maybe it's not the first victory or the first win you had. It's can you do it again? Or can you win in multiple areas? Or it's a spitball answer because I don't actually know what it means. But that's what it would mean to me. Is winning twice is about not just the first victory, it's the second victory that sometimes is a little bit harder.
Other than faith is number one for both of us. Other than faith, what are the other two main areas that we like to win in life?
Family and finance.
And if there was a third, what would be the third?
Fitness, health.
And if there was a fourth, what's the fourth?
Fun.
Sorry.
Fun.
So when I think of winning twice, it's like, I want to win in life. I want to win at home. I want to win with me, with my fitness, with my family. I also want to win in business. Right. And then business is part of the financial sector. And so, when we're thinking about winning twice, it's like, I want to win in life and business. I don't want one to be at the sacrifice of the other. That's why we always talk about your family so much. And, when you bring me stuff, I'm like, well, what's the family think? Because if the family's good, then we can go move the business. But if the family's not good, then it's like, I think we're going to have to tear all this back down.
Well, and winning twice is a lot more fruitful than winning once. It actually makes the first victory taste a lot sweeter.
We're talking, so there's a phrase that I love to live by. It says, play at a level in which your competition doesn't even know exists. Oh, it's a good one. It's a tricky one because
this is everything I'm taking notes as a guest on a podcast, but I'm
bro. Yeah, heck yeah, take notes. So win at a level in which your competition doesn't know exist. That's what I'm talking about. So when people see people like me and you, PJ, they might see our success in the business, but what they have no clue is we win at home too. We win in life.
Amen.
And that's we're winning there first and business is second.
I love it, bro.
Isn't that's what winning twice is about? So I love it. Well, let me ask you, I got another question for you here.
Yeah, please.
Do you remember the first words that you said to me? And it was a question and it was a sentence. Do you remember?
If it wasn't such an impactful moment, I would say no to give you the honor of telling me. But I do remember what the first thing I asked you was, and it's, what's your story?
What's your story? Said, I want everybody to hear that. He asked me, what's your story? Now let's I'm going to let you give him the context in which how we got there. Where were we at throughout that week? And then how did we end up sitting right across from each other?
Yeah. I mean, there's a key principle to extract from the moment we met, which is to constantly put yourself in rooms where you're uncomfortable or that are new or that are different, to get in bigger rooms, because we met at a dinner it was the Real Producers National Conference, first national conference that the Real Producers organization did. And it was 20 of the top real estate teams that attended the conference that were there, including the Remington, the host, and then, the founder of realtor.com. And I mean, there's some high level people in that room, and I was the only lender there, which was a pretty cool opportunity. And we were sitting, across the end of the table from each other. And my wife said, "Hey, you need to build a relationship with this guy." I said, "Okay." So
but before that moment even happened, I'm sitting at the table. You're talking to Juan. I'm thinking everybody knows each other other than me. Right? I'm like, I'm the new guy at this table because Juan asked me earlier. He goes, "Hey, if you're not doing anything tonight, why don't you come to dinner with us?" And I'm like, "Yeah." high level relationships. We're going to talk about that here.
Yep.
High level relationships. I'm like, well, hell yes. If you're hosting a dinner and I know who's invited, like the quality of the people, I'm in. Cancel my plans, I'm
So
in.
good.
And so I sit down at this table and everyone's talking, and I'm not the last one there, but I'm one of the last ones. And you're talking to one, and then your wife's talking, and I'm like, I don't know. Everybody knows everybody, and I'm the new guy here. And then this guy who's sitting right across from me looks at me and he says, "Tell me your story. Tell me about you."
Mm.
And I'm like, well, shit. Normally I don't start that way. Right.
Yeah, we like to
And
go deep.
because you said that to me, I'm like, okay. And then I started telling my story, and it's a story, buddy.
Yep, that was an
And then your
incredible
wife's
story.
like, that guy you need in your life. What did she say to you exactly?
I think that was almost the exact words, word for word. She said, "You need to build a relationship with him." And I said, "Okay." And then the next day, you happen to be at the table, signing books. I had the opportunity to come by and introduce myself, grab a copy of The Money Puzzle, which is a phenomenal book. And, just kind of organically, we got to build the momentum. But that's the cool thing about being in the right place at the right time, or saying yes to worthy opportunities, right? If it's a hell yes or a hell no, but that was a hell yes. And it just kind of momentum built naturally on its own.
And you got a podcast. Tell me the name and tell me the concept behind your podcast, PJ.
Yeah, so we recently rebranded and committed to building the High Level People podcast, which really has two audiences. So one audience is, no matter where you're at in your entrepreneurial journey, there's always another level you can climb to, which is one thing that you and I share in common, which is we're always trying to grow and go to new levels, right? I feel like, God gave us certain gifts and talents, so we should always be striving to level up. So it's called the High Level People podcast, to help you level up from high level people inside the minds of modern market leaders. But the second audience for our faith driven community is, I personally believe, the highest level person that's ever lived is Jesus Christ, highest level spiritually, mentally. So there's a lot of kingdom driven entrepreneurs that get to come on that show as well and share how they've been bold with their faith in the marketplace, how they've built their business on biblical principles. So we're really excited about that High Level People podcast.
So high level people podcasts, which means you build great relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's give our listeners here, give us a framework or two on how do you even do that?
Yeah, I love that. So I would say there's two answers. The first is a framework that I'm going to go over, which we've actually been building together. So I have a structured framework. And then the other, I would say, which has really been my strategy prior to the last 6 months, is no framework and just the spirit that you walk around with to build high level relationships. So if you wanted a practical, classic 2026 Sunday sermon, here's your 3 takeaways. Something that we've been building to give you a playbook is the 3 V's. So what that means is, if I'm somebody and I want to level up in my business, I want to level up in my career, I'm trying to grow my network with higher quality people in my life, the first thing that I need to start with is a vision. And the vision is twofold. Number one is, what is the vision that I have for myself in my life? Because high level people are attracted to big visions. I heard something this morning, which I loved, and it was intellectual stimulation. I was meeting with one of the top brokers in Telluride. Instantly got a $3 million lead 20 minutes after the meeting. And the conversation was around intellectual stimulation. Like, he's like, that's what I enjoy in the networking. So the reason I say that is, if you don't have a vision that's big enough for your life, you're not going to have any need or magnetic pull to grow your intellectual capability. So, like, in his example, I'm in the mortgage business. If I'm a loan officer and I say, I'm a loan officer that closes 2 loans a month, okay, we've already determined the ceiling, and the work you need to do to get there is very limited. If you say the vision that I have for myself is to be the number 1 loan officer in my state, you've now given yourself a project, and you're going to require a certain amount of people and resources to come into your life to bring that vision to life. So your standards, your floor, everything about your life and your career and your business has to be at a higher level, because your vision was set high enough where you made it possible to fill the gap. But the second thing is the vision for
Hang on.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Without a vision, people what?
Perish.
And none of us want to perish. We all want to thrive. So without a vision, people perish. So we got to establish that vision. So keep going, PJ.
No, so good, bro. So the second thing, and I think this is the most commonly missed aspect of vision when it comes to building high level of relationships. So a lot of people have a vision for their life, right? Hey, here's all the things that I want to accomplish and I want to do. But the second part of that is, what is the vision that I have for this specific relationship? So like when I build a relationship, I instantly tell myself, this is going to be a decade-long relationship. I'm going to build a relationship with this person for 10 years. We're not going to do one deal together. We're not going to work together for 30 days. I'm going to treat this as if this is somebody I'm going to have for the rest of my life. And one of the things that I love my grandmother used to always say is, and I think you've echoed this as well, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. It's up to God to determine whether it's a reason, a season, or a lifetime, but I'm going to use the filter that everybody's a lifetime so that I nurture and steward that relationship in the right way. So the first pillar of high level relationships, the first V is vision. What is the vision I have for my life? And what is the vision I have for this relationship? The second V is values. And there's two sides to values. So there's inner values and there's external values in the marketplace. For inner values, I recently heard this quote and it said, your success can only be sustained by your character. And in other words, it's like you can only climb as high as your character is deep, which I love that concept. So do you take extreme ownership? Are you proactive with tough conversations? Are you reliable? Are you loyal? Are you trustworthy? Are you kind? Like, what is your value framework? Because high level people want to associate with people that have high level values, right? Especially as the dollar amounts get bigger and the time becomes more expensive. Am I associating with somebody that I can trust and I don't need to lose time thinking about whether or not they're going to honor their commitment? So, and we can get into more of this, right? So I have stories that back up all of these three V's in different times in my life, but I would say first it's inner value. So you need to ask yourself, do I have the character? And I'll give another example. Like I had a young loan officer who's trying to go build high level relationships, no vision, no values. And we're going to get to the third. All they had was the vehicle. And it's like, you're actually better off not having nobody know you exist than go get a high level relationship and completely blow it. And now your reputation, your stock value just went from a blue chip stock to a penny stock overnight because you didn't follow this framework.
Yeah.
So you have inner values, but then external values, which somebody we're both familiar with is Jim Rohn, is your value, your revenue, your income is attached to the problems you solve and the value you have in the marketplace. So I always tell my team, you're not making enough money because you're not adding enough value. So for example, the common loan officer realtor relationship, I was just talking to somebody about this last night. They're like, well, one of my brokers needs somebody to work the open houses. And I said, well, I'm not working the open houses. And I'm like, okay, well, that entire framework, you added no value. They came to you with a need. You responded with, I'm not doing that. How far can you take that relationship? Versus you want to be a leader. Why don't you go find a rookie loan officer you can mentor, put them in the open house. Now you just saved a relationship, added value to that broker, and accomplished the vision that you had, which is starting to build a team. Right. So I'm like going off on a tangent, but go ahead.
Well, this is what we've been working on actually, is creating I love hearing the tangent because it's like we spent our last coaching session working on this. So I'm going through thinking, okay, how's he doing? How's he talking through this? It's funny. I was on a coaching call this morning and one of the comments, and I've been getting this comment a lot as I push the lead generation, working through relationships and referrals, is they're saying, Austin, they're not answering my call. And they try to blame it based off of the time they call. Like, well, I called them and so they didn't answer. And I told them this, it's the same answer I have for everybody. They don't answer because there's not enough value for them to answer. You haven't provided enough. If you call me, I answer. Even though my phone's on silent, no vibrate, if I see it, I answer your call every time because there's always value for me. But other people I don't answer because it's like there's no value. So on the loan officer side, on the real estate agent side, in any sales position, if you want to start to grow your business and you start calling people and then your first response is, well, they don't answer. Yeah, because you've neglected them for 3 years.
So good.
And now you're calling them and they just think PJ wants something. And so they don't answer. And so we have to restart this vehicle of providing value and then they'll answer. Because like if I call you, you're going to answer. Yep. If you call me, because there's value going back and forth.
So good. So I think the other tough thing this is like a deep concept, but if you think about just how the economy has evolved over time, so we came from agriculture, we came from labor, and then we went into an era of communication and information and knowledge-based service. So it's a foreign concept to add value that's not attached to labor. Like, I'm going to do something, so that has to be valuable, where like real value actually comes from communication and creativity. Like, you have to be willing to think. And I recently saw this framework. One of my favorite biblical sales trainers, Myron Golden, he's showing the levels of income. And like the lowest level of income is somebody that just does a task. Like, labor is actually the lowest level of income.
Yeah.
The highest level of income is creative. It's leadership, it's communication, it's influence, it's all the things that we spend time doing together. So I say all that to say, most loan officers, real estate professionals, any salespeople think the value is doing the thing. Oh, I'm going to get somebody a loan. That's not valuable. Everybody can do that. Value is bringing something new to the market or solving an existing problem that hasn't been solved yet. So that's really the second key of high level relationships is your inner values and the value you bring to the marketplace. And the bigger the relationship, the more value you need to bring. Then I would say the third V is, so if vision and values attract high level relationships, the third V, which is your vehicle, keeps and sustains high level relationships. So if you go and attract a high level vendor, it doesn't matter what business you do. You could be in HVAC, telecommunications. I go and attract somebody that I want to do business with. And the vision that I have for my life and the values that I have and the value that I can provide, all of these things have attracted this person into my world. And now we start to do business together. The vehicle is the machine in which you can follow through on your commitments. It's your team, it's your operations, it's your system, it's your pricing. It's what is the strength of the vehicle? Are you driving a Ferrari or are you driving a tricycle? Right. So a lot of times people don't put enough emphasis on the vehicle, especially in sales, because they're all lead gen, a little conversion,
Yep.
but the vehicle is the fulfillment. So if you don't have a vehicle to sustain and fulfill the commitments you're making in high level of relationships, you'll never keep them, because high level people have high standards, and high standards requires a high level of execution. So I've experienced challenges with all of those, with vision, with values, with vehicle, but again, simple framework. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and I want to go into the marketplace to build high level relationships. I'm asking you, what's the vision you have for your life? What's your vision for the relationship? What are your inner values? What's the value you add to the marketplace? And what's the strength of your team and the vehicle you're currently operating?
I love it. Well, if anything, what a great example of us working on what is PJ's superpowers. What does he want to get out to the, remember I asked you, like, what are your gifts and talents that you need to give to the world? And you're like, Austin, I got these gifts and talents. And then my job is to organize them so you can naturally speak, but the organization has the order and has the points, so you can go be you, but within this system and structure. And you just crushed it, brother.
I appreciate it. Well, bro,
I didn't expect
your
it to go to
superpower
this
is
point.
filtering information. Like, one of the things you do better than anybody I've ever met on planet Earth is taking a bunch of information, filtering it, and then spitting it out in a way that's productive, useful, moving forward, clarity. Like, you are a super filter of information. If there was an AI bot called Chevgrok, I'd be using that instead of whatever I'm currently using.
It goes back to the chapter in the money puzzle, simplify. Is how do we simplify? Because, well, let's just be honest. People like me and you, we create opportunity every day for a living. We literally create it. The problem is because we created it, we feel obligated to say yes.
Yep.
And saying yes to what I've personally realized is 9 out of 10 opportunities are not opportunities, they're liabilities. Because the right decision at the wrong time, or the right decision without the right context, they always equal the wrong answer. And so how do we then determine, out of these 10 things that I created, which one, just one, do I need to say yes to and why? And normally that starts with, well, I got to know your vision. Where are we going? Because if we're going up to the North Pole, but we're sitting in Orlando, Florida, which is where you operate part of your business from, and you're saying, hey, Austin, I only got so much room in my suitcase. I'm going to say, hey, leave the parka out, PJ. Well, we're going to the North Pole, Austin. Yeah, but before we get there, we're going to hit the mountains. And are you prepared for the mountains? No, I don't have anything because this parka's taking up all the room. Then get rid of the damn parka, dude. Like, we'll fucking buy one when we get up to Canada. It's cold up there. They got them.
Sequence is off. I think that's one of the words that I've extracted from working together and kind of re-internalized and processed, is just sequence. I see so many times It's the right information, the right ideas, but the wrong sequence.
That's a great word. And what I've learned to do, because I'm naturally wired to optimize everything I do, I
Mhm.
realize to optimize and to truly get that, you have to do it in the right order. I don't think I've ever told you this. I love playing video games. I ever talk to you about video games?
I don't know if I made this up or if you told me this. Were you a world-class video gamer at one point? Like
I,
a
I am,
award-winning?
yeah. I was, yeah. If they had all the stuff back when I played, I would have been a multimillionaire on YouTube. I wouldn't do
Wow.
this. I would do coaching on YouTube if I was back when, 16, 17, 18. But here's why I was so good, PJ, is because, okay, one of the games I played, I was ranked third in the world in. Before Call of Duty, this was the Call of Duty. It was called SOCOM US Navy SEALs. Well, what I figured out, sequence, brother. Remember this sequence.
Mm,
It was an 8-on-8 battle, and you played 8-on-8. And the first one to win, it was the best out of 11 matches. Depending on when you logged into that match, they would put you on different teams. And
mm.
they would do the first person logged in over here, the second person, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, all the way down to 16. Here's what I realized. The best spot in the game, if you wanted to play aggressive, which both me and you are aggressive type, like, I'm
Yep.
gonna go get them right now. I'm getting them all.
Yep. Run
The
into the
best spot
fire.
in the game was when you were the third one in the match. You got on this team and you were in this spot in the map. It was
Mm,
preset.
mm,
So I knew that if I was the first one in, I would wait. I'd come back out. I'd wait to see when two people were in, and then I'd go back in and I'd hit
mm.
that spot. And when I got in that spot, I could dominate the game. There
Mm.
was a sequence.
That's good.
And so I just learned this at a young age that if you hit the order right, everything else becomes easier. The problem is, and most of my clients are actually your personality. The problem becomes is that we don't know the sequence because we got so many right answers.
So good.
And then at the end of a decade, it's like, man, I've done really good. I created these relationships. I invest. I mean, let's be honest. You invest almost a heavy 5 figures, if not 6 figures, into your education.
Oh, I just redid my personal development budget. I spend easily $150,000 a year on personal development,
Okay. There's a hint, everybody. There's a hint right there.
which is
You don't fit here.
it's a combination of an obnoxious number and a starvation for greatness and growth and improvement.
Yes. Yes. And so what I did, one of the first things I came in, I helped you organize your education.
Yep.
And I didn't say, hey, let's not do it all, but let's do it in the right order and
Bro, it's so
only
helpful.
undertake what you can do in an excellent fashion.
That quote changed my life, and it's a actual war. So it is not a one-time fix. To anybody that relates to this, people like me and you, and I'll speak for myself in this, where it's a blessing and it can be a curse when your brain is always moving 100 miles an hour. Like, I don't know what life looks like without my brain firing on all cylinders. So the quote, don't do anything in less than an excellent fashion, for there's no prize for average performance. It's one of the most powerful filters of like, can I do this in an excellent fashion? Like, literally, I picked up, this is me right now. I have one book
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. That's
And
not
then
the one I sent you. Oh, that's
I have
Wally's
the
book.
book you sent me there.
Yeah.
I have this book that somebody else sent me here. And then I had
Yeah.
this
What
book
else you got?
here. And I had to sit there and say, what book right now can I read in an excellent fashion?
Yeah.
Like, what am I at? And right now, recruiting is a big focus. So I said, you know what? I'm going to finish the recruiting book. And then, and the book you sent me, I really enjoy after hours, mornings, like that's a philosophy of
PJ
success.
book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That like feeds my soul from like an entrepreneur. But when I'm actually studying topics at my desk of how do I get better at my craft, that filter has helped me make a decision.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about this. One of our goals is recruiting.
Yep.
Can you tell everybody kind of what you do, what company you work for, what's your position, just so they know?
Absolutely. So, I mean, by the grace of God, I continue to get into rooms where I'm like, I don't know how I got in here, maybe $150,000 of personal development, but I'm honored to be here. So today, we run a real estate lending platform nationwide. So we have 3 divisions. Our bread and butter is residential financing. We have 41 incredible loan officers. That's traditional and non-traditional loan products. So whether somebody's buying their dream home, their first time buyer, down payment assistance, investors, vacation rentals, I mean, just your traditional residential financing. We expand the credit box as much as it can be expanded, but that is an incredible team of mortgage professionals that'll provide a 5-star service for anybody seeking residential financing. We
Love
have a
it. And
team
what
of
company is that?
yeah. So our company's called Element Mortgage, and we're under the American Pacific umbrella. So we're the fourth largest division of American Pacific. So a lot of people wouldn't even know that we have a parent company because it feels very autonomous and very independent. But it's Element Mortgage is the mortgage company. We're backed by American Pacific, and then we have a division and a team of 5 called Element Commercial, and it's been incredible to see how that's taken off over the last 6 months. We've closed the Burger King, an office building. We've helped a home builder buy a 40-acre tract of land and get development financing. So we've done some really cool things in the commercial space. We're doing really cool things in the residential space. I mean, this month we'll help over 200 families with a loan across the United States with Element Mortgage. And then the last bucket is we have this little tiny group of some high net worth investors that will review loan requests that don't meet any traditional guidelines. So if we have a client who's got a lot of collateral, they got a large portfolio, and there's just not a bank that wants to do the deal for whatever reason. Maybe it's really high leverage or it's vacant land or just something we can't get institutional financing for. They'll actually review those requests, and that's called Element Capital, and they'll put up the money for those loans. So kind of 3 buckets, and our tagline is if there's 4 walls and a roof, we fund it. We really do it all.
Now give me the vision for the company at the end of 2027. What's the vision for the company?
Yeah, 200 million a month in production. So between all
Okay.
3 buckets, we want to be closing $200 million a month in volume. This year, it's $100 million a month in volume, or PJ Crescenzo will evaporate off planet Earth. But it's cool because even in March, like one of my favorite quotes that I heard recently is, "It always looks like you're failing in the middle." Like whenever you're in the middle, it always looks like failure, right? So, I mean, it has been a challenge doing this. And we've worked together on some really effective strategies that have helped organize it, streamline it, scale it, but it's still a battle. But in March, we're going to close $50 million. And I said, wow, 3 months into the year, we're already 50% of the way there. And it was such a big goal when we started the year, but you just attack it every single day. You look up 90 days later and you're like, holy cow, we're halfway there.
Yeah. Let's do this. I think the listeners could benefit from this learning. Is 6 months ago, before we met in August or September,
September, yeah.
actually. Yeah, it was when
Did you
we
know we
met
actually
down
met
in
on my
Dallas.
birthday? Did you know it was my birthday that day? At dinner?
No!
Yeah.
You didn't tell me that. At
Mhm.
dinner that night was your birthday?
Mhm.
Really?
September 29th. That was the night of the dinner
And
when we
no one
met.
sang happy birthday for you or nothing?
I think we got a weak happy birthday at the end, and I don't wanna say
Okay.
weak. I'm sure Ellen, like, really tried to make
Yeah,
it
sure, yeah.
special, but the fact that you sat next to me and didn't remember we sang happy birthday means next year
Ye
we need to get some brighter
Yeah,
candles.
we'll do it up better. So,
Yeah.
okay, let's, and as much as you feel comfortable saying,
Yeah.
what did your life as a high achiever look like before you met me? And then the last 6 months, kind of like what's changed?
Oh, easily. I mean, the biggest word is focus. I mean, I can expand on that in 12 different ways, but if I wanted to be focused, the key word is focus. So, I mean, it's been an incredible filter of what needs to be a priority, who needs to be communicated with and how. What are we going to focus on this month versus what's in the future? What's the right decision today? It's also given me the confidence because of your financial literacy I've been in a lot of personal development, a lot of coaching, but it's always been very singular focused. And you do a really good job of being singular focused with the ability to do it in multiple areas. So
Ye
like
Yeah.
that's really rare where we can go really deep in finances. We can go really deep in leading a team. We can go really deep in overall business strategy. We can go really deep on what's best for the family. It's all based on biblical values. I mean, it's a really powerful combination for growth for
I got the
anybody that,
chills when you say that, PJ. One, because I know how good that is.
Mhm.
I saw like, so, being a personal junkie too, personal development junkie, what I learned is that a lot of these people that I followed, they normally only or that were coaching me, they only normally had one thing going for them, and that might have been their business or might have been just one thing.
Yep,
I
100%.
rarely found people after I invested thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, I'd figure out who they truly were. And I'd always be like, damn it. You know, I got the business person,
No.
but they're a horrible father or mother. They're horrible with their life. They don't believe what I believe. They're broke.
Yep.
And so I started to seek people that were doing great in multiple spheres of their life. And it was very hard to find. Very hard to find.
And it goes back to that. It always looks like failure in the middle. Like another quote that I love is the toughest place to be is when you've left all the people that you can relate to, but you haven't earned the right yet to be in the room with the people you look up to. So you're in this place where you're like, I can't hang out with these people because we don't have the same values anymore. We have different financial goals. It's just weird because we're just in a different place in life. So the synergy isn't the same. I can still love you, serve you, be here for you, but we're not on the same mission. At the same time, you got all these people up here that are producing more, have done more, are leading more. So you're like, you're always kind of in the middle until you stabilize. And then when you want to grow again, you get back into the middle.
Yeah. What's funny when you talk about, you know, in our coaching calls, we talk about financials, we talk about the business, we talk about the family, we talk about faith. There's always a Bible right next to me. So we're always working in all these spheres because it's really a holistic approach. And just to be honest with you, PJ, it's, even though that's what I've always seeked and I know that I can do it, it's actually one of the hardest things that I have to do because I don't have a singular message to tell people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, do I coach you on financials? Well, if I do that, well, the business drives the financials.
What you do, it's called winning twice. Winning twice coaching with Austin Cheviron.
Yeah.
Now you do have a message.
That's it. And it's funny because I work through like, okay, so before we met, if somebody were to say, hey, you're going to have these people here that, you know, might enroll in your services, like, what do I talk about? Do I talk about I ran one of the top real estate teams in the country? Do I talk about as a solo agent, as a single person, I dominated? Do I talk about how I work 38 and a half hours a week and I've been married for 18 years and I've been at every one of my kids' events? Do I talk about I was on welfare 13 years ago and now I'm a multimillionaire because I'm a good steward? Like, what the hell do I talk about?
You talk about how you've developed a better relationship with time every year over the last 13 years. And if you're not in love with your relationship with time, then you need my coaching. Yeah. You need to get a Cheviron clock as part of your branding and marketing. Call it the Cheviron clock. How are you using the hours God gave you? And if you think there's a better use of your time, then you need to sign up for coaching so you can learn how to win twice.
I love that. Well, going back to the parable of talents, you know, the parable of talents teaches us that if you don't utilize and use what God's given you, then what happens? Do you remember?
You burn, you spit out, you perish. Like what was the takeaway?
Yeah.
Like
so
the
parable of talents says that if you don't use what I gave you, and it really was the story from the Bible says, you know, a wise man left town and gave his talents, which was his money, to three people based off of their ability to handle their money. He gave the best person 5 talents. He gave the second best person 2, and he gave essentially the third best 1. And when he left, he came back and he said, how did you do with the talents I gave you? And the guy with 5 said, sir, I doubled it. I now have 10. Could also go back to the people that you're leading. You gave me 5 people. You gave me a PJ. I took a PJ and I made another one. That's what you asked me to do. And then the person with 2 said, hey, I took your 2 and I made 4. And the person with 1 said, sir, I knew you're a very demanding man. I took the 1 and I buried it because I didn't want to lose it. So I did nothing with your talent that you gave me. I buried it. Here it is back. And he said, you wicked soul. You wicked soul, take your 1 and give it to the one with 10. And so reading that, PJ, I go back and I look, it's like we were given these gifts and talents.
Yep.
And just because you're doing well at a lot of these things doesn't mean that's the talents that I gave you and that you're utilizing.
Well, and there's so many depths to talents because there's always an area that can be improved, right? So I was thinking about this today. I'm like, all right, 2 skills I want to get a lot better at. Budgeting. I feel like I'm constantly always trying to become better at budgeting, and also visualizing. Like that's one of those elite activities and behaviors that I'm finding more and more of really successful people is they're able to visualize what they're working towards, whether it's the house, the experience with their family, the like actual time to sit and ruminate on here's the positive vision I have for my life. Again, back to the vision.
Well, let me
Um,
ask you this,
yeah,
on your Chevron clock, how much time do you have dedicated to slow down and think and visualize? And your if we were to pull your calendar
yeah,
up
not
right
enough, bro.
now.
Always like, and this is
Yeah.
where it's this relationship. This is the war
Yeah.
I fight, which is the thing that makes me feel like I'm doing enough is the same activity I don't want to schedule because I feel like I'm not doing enough. It's like,
It's
it's,
backwards,
yeah.
PJ. So what got us here though won't get us there. And
Uh,
we got to realize people like me and you, what got us to the point, your bad year was 2018, right?
yeah.
Like you didn't do
100%.
well that
That
year.
my worst and best year at the same time. Like,
Give them the 30-second story real
yeah,
fast so
yeah,
they don't think you're
30-second
just
story
some.
was I thought I was a victim. I blamed everybody but myself for everything that was wrong with my life, and I watched in a matter of a year going from a potential collegiate athlete, network marketing, to selling drugs, abusing drugs, robbed at gunpoint, shot, had a bullet graze my head, $120,000 in debt, couldn't even find a place to live. The only person that would let me stay with them at the time was my mother, who I was living in South Carolina. She was in New Jersey. She said, I got a maintenance job for you at the high school and you can come home. I said, I would die before I move back to my hometown and take a maintenance job at my high school. No offense to anybody working maintenance jobs at high school.
Yeah.
That's just not the plans I had for my life. So, I mean, I was like rock bottom of rock bottom. I got told no, that I couldn't live with my grandparents. I had to go back again and beg. And they finally said, okay, you can stay with us. And then that was the most transformative 18 months of rehab I ever had. Moved in with my grandparents, started reading books, got into real estate, met my wife, developed my relationship with the Lord, paid off all my debt, overcame all my legal challenges, got a clean record. And it's been an 8 years of just
It's
monster momentum from since I hit
eight
rock bottom.
years of being in the messy middle,
Yes, 8 years of being in
right?
the middle. That's good.
8 years of being in the middle. We talked about being in the middle earlier and how it's messy, and, and so I wanted them to hear your 8 years. Mine's been 13.
Mm,
13 years ago, I was on collecting welfare,
unbelievable, bro.
and it's like and no, and I share this with everybody because they might look at me and you and be like, "Oh, look how good they're doing. You almost died, and I was collecting welfare."
Yeah, I mean, I spent
So
a night in prison. I mean, again, people have went through way worse, but not jail. So in between that whole season of life, I got arrested 3 times in 90 days. One of them, I got into a high-speed cop chase in
how
Abington,
fast were you going?
easily 105. The car was I was in the passenger seat. The car was tilting on a 45 as we were turning because we were going so fast on the wheels. Um, so I mean, there's story after story, but I was
Yeah.
so far when you think about vision, values, and vehicle, no values, no vision, and every relationship was a very low level relationship.
Yeah, and I think I want our audience to hear and to see that no matter if you're in the messy middle, if you're in the very beginning, or if you think you know what you're doing, there's the journey is it's worth it.
Mhm.
It's worth it to go through the struggle. It's worth it to endure the pain. It's worth it to say to yourself, the world sees me as excellent and I'm just figuring it out every day.
It's so
And
good.
and to be honest with you, PJ, there was a movie called it was Motown.
Never seen
It talked about Detroit and back in the Motown
Okay.
days. And at the very end of Motown, I remember this one thing. Motown, at the very end, their sales guy, which happened to be the only white guy essentially in the whole movie, because Motown was great in the movement of what it was doing for African Americans and just getting everything out there and just shining out on a stage.
Love it.
And there was one guy at the end, the only white guy, and he was the sales guy. And my buddy Kurt Shewell, who was on a previous episode, told me why they had to hire a white sales guy to get it out there. And he was explaining it all to me. Here's what he said that I will never forget. He said, I wish I would have slowed down and enjoyed the journey more. He goes, we were always rushing through it. And doesn't that feel true? Like me and you, we're always rushing through to
So
get to the next
it's like
thing.
Billy Graham. I don't know if you told me this or somebody else, but you know what Billy Graham said on his deathbed?
What's that?
So they asked Billy Graham, one of the greatest evangelists of all time, what's one thing you wish you would have done differently in your life? And one of his last words was less.
Yeah. And so it's funny when people are always trying to sell me the cure. I just tell them like, you know what? I'm okay with enduring the pain. I'm
Mm,
enjoying the moment. It's not perfect. I just need some mentors and guides in my life that help corral me on this journey, and I'm good to go.
so
Like I'm
good.
okay. I don't need all the solutions. I just need people I trust to help me make sure I don't screw it up too big, and so I can go do this, and I enjoy the messy middle. I don't know if we're ever not going to be in the middle. I don't know what that looks like.
No, no, we're
Um,
not because we're always looking to go to the next level. So when you're
we're-
committed to a life of growth, it's like heavy is the head that wears the crown. And, it'd be so easy to go backwards, but it's unacceptable. I feel I have a moral responsibility for growth. Like I was given a
yeah,
second chance at life and you were given a
yes,
second chance to kind of make this run in your career and impact lives. So I'm either growing or dying. Like that's a
yeah.
like there's only two options.
Well, let's do this. I like to end with this one question, as
Yeah,
most of the
please.
people listening are probably going to be entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
That's my guess. What is one piece of advice you have for an entrepreneur? Maybe someone who's starting the business, who's in the messy middle. What's just one piece of advice you have for them?
Change your story, change your life. Fix your belief systems, fix your life. Right now, every single person listening to this, listening to anything is telling themselves a story about where they're at in life, why they're doing what they're doing. They're telling themselves a story about their past, a story about the present, a story about the future. It's all a story. It's all a narrative. The greatest story ever told was that God loved us so much, he sent his only son to come and die for us and give us a chance of eternal life. So think about what story you're telling yourself right now. At a top producer, situation happens. There's two ways we can respond. Either there's no way forward, so we're just going to sit here paralyzed, or this was an incredible opportunity for us to improve, right? And I could go on and on and on. So if I could give one piece of advice, you're worthy, you're loved, you're good enough, you can do it. It won't be easy. It'll be worth it. Tell yourself a story that's going to empower you. Why not use everything that you tell yourself to your advantage? Why complain when you can pray? Why get into a fight with your wife or your husband when you can figure out a way to draw closer together? Why shy away from the tough call when it's an opportunity to show the partner why they worked with you in the first place? Change your story, change your
Change your
life.
story.
Know that you're good enough, know that you're worthy, and start before you're ready because we're never ready. There's never any perfect conditions.
I love it. Well, PJ, thanks for investing some time, brother. We got to work on your speech today. Bonus coaching time. I
Let's
love it.
go.
We're in, and then we'll drop a link for your podcast somewhere in the show notes, however that works here,
Let's go.
because I'm sure when people listen to you, they're going to want to hear more. So I appreciate you, brother. Thanks
Thank you
for
so much,
investing the
bro.
time with us.
Have a great day. Appreciate you, Austin. See you, bro.